Hi, welcome back to the Budget Mechanic. The new year is a really great time to look at your budget and figure out what you want to do with your money in the coming year to help support and build that life that you want going forward. This video is going to be about how to budget for the holidays. Now, your holiday may be any holiday that you want. It doesn't have to be Christmas. I simply use it because that's my reference point. But you may be of another religion or not have a religion at all. Maybe you just have a large family get together. It could be Easter, it could be Canada Day, it could be Thanksgiving. Anything that works for you. That's what this video is about, is budgeting for those big events and how to make sure that you have the cash available for them so that you're not going into debt to support those. There's a lot of people out there, I think, that get frustrated. You're like, I'm going to get there, but you don't have a plan for it. And then it becomes difficult to make sure you're not going in debt. The video here is about planning for that. We're using 7 simple steps to make sure that you can afford the holiday gift giving that you want to have. First, list all your expenses that you anticipate for this holiday. So that's your gifts. Make sure you list all of your gifts by name. So all the members of your family, your friends that you're going to give. I even had a category for colleagues, especially to help with those office exchanges. Sometimes you have a secret Santa at work. Also, if you do special types of things like stockings for Christmas or anything like that, that's not specific to that person, maybe make sure you've included that expense as well. Another thing is decor. Do you buy new decor every holiday to add to your collection, or do you need to replace? So for example, if you buy a live Christmas tree, do you need that? So make a list, make sure that you've accounted for decor. The next thing is food. So you could choose to just make sure that your grocery budget includes that, so you could be doing it as part of your grocery review, or you can set it specific to Christmas and list out, how much extra you think you're spending. Do you host the big family day and you're expected to provide the bulk of the food? Do you do potlucks? Anything like that. So what is your food cost associated with this holiday? Next is parties. Now these parties can both be ones you host, like Christmas come and goes. These could also be parties that you go to. Do you need to buy tickets for the party? Do you need to buy a special suit or clothing for it? Anything like that. So what is included in the cost of that party? Maybe parking or transportation to and from the party. Maybe alcohol or food as well. Now, related into parties and everything else is clothing. Do you need to buy any special clothing for this holiday? Maybe if it's a big summer vacation that you all get together for this holiday gift giving, maybe you buy new beach wear or anything like that. If it's Christmas, maybe you buy the ugly holiday sweater for every year. So put that in your budget as well. Next thing is travel. With the holiday, are you traveling? So are you going to another place? So do you have to account for your transportation costs to back there and back? Do you need accommodations? Do you need to account for any extra costs in there as well? The other thing is, if you have pets, are you taking them with you, or are you going to put them into pet care? So boarding, anything like that. Even temporary, even if you're staying home, if you have large gatherings, maybe your pets don't do well with large groups of people, you might choose to put them into boarding for a couple of days to reduce the stress on everybody. With your expenses, the other thing I would suggest is just have an extra category. So some people call it a fudge factor or contingency fund. So an extra 10 to 20% to account for things that you might not know about at the time you're making your plan. Step 2 is to estimate the actual costs for each of those items that we've just talked about. So how much are you spending on each of those items, and put your estimate down there. The next step is to total it all up and be amazed. Are you in shock? Oh my gosh, when I actually put it all together, I had no idea it would cost as much. Or, maybe I got a little too lean on things because that doesn't seem reasonable. So what you can do is to go back and look at your historical costs. Is this what you've spent in the past? Is it reasonable to you? Do you think you can do this? Are you comfortable with it? That's the big thing. If that number is huge, but you can afford it and it's reasonable to you, then hey, that's great. The number is small, maybe you don't like to spend a lot of money and it's more about the time with people or sharing the cost by potlucking and maybe doing fun exchanges and having experiences instead. Okay, so it's really about making sure that total makes sense to you. The next step is to take that total amount of money, so whatever that is, and divide it by either the number of months that are left between now and that holiday coming up. So for myself, if I'm starting to think about Christmas, because I've started to do my Christmas budget now, is I would take that number, divide it by 12, and need to set that much aside every month. You can also divide it by the number of paychecks if that helps you. If you're budgeting paycheck to paycheck, go through and figure out how much you need to set aside every month, every paycheck to make sure you have enough money. Now comes the fun part, the shopping and the buying and the preparing. Now, the nice thing is that because you're setting your budget up ahead of time and working through it through the year, you can take advantage of sales that might come up. Sales on that perfect gift for somebody. Or maybe if you're traveling, there's a great, wonderful seat sale on flights. You can pick those up as well. So you can have that flexibility to prepare through the year. Now, a big thing that I would recommend throughout the year is to make sure you're tracking it. So you could be tracking it on an application, so an app that you use for gifts like a Santa Claus or something like that. Also making sure that you're tracking it in your budgeting, however you're budgeting, paper, Excel, maybe an app. Again, I use YNAB and I find it's fabulous for that. So you could do that as well. And with both of those, make sure if you are buying those things ahead of time, put a note on that transaction to know where have you hidden that gift. So when it comes January and you're cleaning things up and realize, oh, here's that stash of gifts that I forgot about, you'll know where they are. And it also helps you make sure that you don't overbuy because the thing you bought in July, you will have tracked. Then the event comes and you have that wonderful time with your family and you're celebrating and you're doing everything. After that is all over, one of the key things is to do what's called a lessons learned. So that's when you'd sit back after the event and go, whew, think about it. How wonderful was it? What could be improved? And that includes financially. Did you stay on track with your budget plan that you had? Remember, a budget is a plan and it can change over time. But also looking at why did that budget change potentially? Did you maybe have new people in the family you didn't expect it? So new spouses or children or grandchildren that came in and maybe changed the plan. As well, is that a one-time or a recurring expense? Obviously with kids or grandkids, that's going to be a recurring cost. But maybe you had a one-time expense for something that happened and that threw your budget off, but it's not going to be happening again. So take those lessons, look to the future. Maybe there are new planned weddings coming up, so you might have new family members coming in, or if you're moving or somebody else in your family is moving. So take all those lessons learned from there, look to the future, and start planning the budget for the next year coming up. And that's it. That's the simple 7 steps to make sure that you are prepared for any holiday that comes at you. You can take it and apply it to any of them and make sure that you have the budget and the plan for your money and your life.